What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Working for a Dream podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Bolaños. This is the second or third podcast that we're going to do live here in our office in my little made-up studio, which I'm going to show you some video later on. Got an awesome guest with us, one of our customers for Trailer King Builders. He's got a barbecue trailer that he got from us a couple months back, Blue Brisket. Mr. John Dragoo, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Patrick. I appreciate that.
I'm glad to have you here. I know you're here on a visit because we got to do some warranty work on your trailer.
Yeah, unfortunately, which it happens, and anything mechanical, possibility of something go wrong. It did, and I got hold of Patrick, and first thing he said is, "Get it to me."
Yes, sir.
And they're taking care of me.
Awesome. So, given that you're going to be here a few hours, we're going to jam on my podcast. And John's got a very interesting story. He is a retired police officer, and I want to dive right into that. John,
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about how you got into the force, how long you were in there, and tell us one of the coolest stuff you've ever seen.
Originally, I'm from Oklahoma, born and raised. I'm Native American, and when I went to college, I have a degree in history. And it's one of those things, I kind of went to school wanting to be maybe a history teacher and a coach because I was a shot put, hammer, and discus thrower in high school and college. And in college, my interest kind of changed. I really wanted to go to more along the line of helping everybody instead of just kids. And when I first started in thinking about public service, I actually thought about maybe like paramedic.
Okay.
And I went and got an EMT license. And then the opportunity came open for police department, and I'm like, you know what? That's something I would really like doing. That you really get out there hands-on and helping people, and trying to make a difference in somebody's life. That's the old cliche about getting into public service. You really want to help someone. Well, you really do. You either want to help somebody or you don't. And if you don't need to be in there.
Right.
So I got on with the Okmulgee, Oklahoma Police Department. And went to the academy in Oklahoma, and I worked there till 2000, and 1996 to 2000. Then I went to Gainesville, Texas. My family moved down here.
Gainesville, like University of Florida, Gainesville?
No, Gainesville, Texas.
Oh, Gainesville, Texas.
I-35, right there before you hit the Red River.
Okay.
And
my bad.
No Florida here.
I hear Gainesville, and the first thing I think is UF. I don't know why.
Yeah, no. I'm an OU guy, so yes, no. Yeah, it better be. I'm from Norman, Oklahoma.
There you go.
But I got into law enforcement, and it was my calling. It was the right thing over being the coach and teacher. It was just my calling. And like I said, in 2000, we moved to Texas. Mm-hmm. And from 2000 to 2005, I worked for Gainesville PD, and then I had an opportunity. I have a son who is severely autistic, and the school systems in the McKinney area were a lot better than what were in Gainesville.
Okay.
And I had an opportunity to get on with a brand new department, the city of Anna, which is on Highway 75, just north of McKinney. Mm-hmm. It's one of the fastest growing communities in the state of Texas, even back then in 2005. But they'd never had a police department before. And the chief that came in, he hired 3 officers. Everybody had lots of experience.
Right.
Because, starting a fledgling department, you don't want to hire guys without, experience because you're going to be working by yourself.
Right.
And so that's what happened. I ended up in Anna and stayed there through 2014. And unfortunately, I developed PTSD through everything that I saw, and this really affected me really, really bad. My memory's not what it used to be. I don't remember a lot of my professional career as a law enforcement officer, but that's pretty normal. You see a lot of things that are extremely disturbing, and I guess it's your mind's way of protecting you, and it has. And so I got out of law enforcement May of 2014, which was right before the Ferguson incident in Missouri, and went to work selling cars for a buddy of mine, Eldorado Mazda in McKinney. Hi, Mike Domenico. Mike got a hold of me and said, "Hey, come work for me." So I did, and discovered I really didn't like it.
Okay.
But I was decent at it. And unfortunately, December of 2016, I fell off a trailer and I literally broke my right foot in half.
Okay.
And I had 5 surgeries trying to piece it back together. And so technically I'm disabled at this point. But after all those surgeries, you know, I had a lot of time to sit and think about what I really wanted to do. And I had started teaching myself how to smoke meat, I guess probably 6 or so years prior to that. Mm-hmm. And I would feed neighbors, and I'd smoke some brisket and take it to work there at the dealership, and people kept telling me that, man, you need to go into business because you got some good stuff. Man, you need to go into business. Well, I kind of just thought about it, and, you know, that's kind of where my heart was. I do enjoy, you know, feeding people. I enjoy seeing their reactions when they eat my food. And without fail, generally, it's a real positive. People really like what I make.
Oh, absolutely.
So
you're making people happy with your food, man.
That's correct. You know, instead of putting people in jail,
yeah.
you know, making them miserable, I'm making people happy now by serving them brisket and pulled pork and sausage and smoked bologna, which is my favorite. That's an Okie thing.
There you go.
You know, a lot of people in Texas go, smoked bologna? Yeah, smoked bologna in Oklahoma is pretty much a staple.
But I mean, we're going to dive into the smoked bologna thing. But one, I want to thank you for your service.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
How many years, total years?
Just shy of 20.
20 total years
Yeah.
in the service. I'm sorry you got PTSD. I
know
don't want to bring up any.
That happens. I mean, it happens. You know, I deal with it, and that's all you can really do is deal with it and go on. You know, like I said, you see a lot when you do that line of work.
Yeah.
You know, it's a common thing, but unfortunately, in the civilian world, PTSD is not looked upon as it's kind of taboo.
Right.
Yes. Not like the military. You know, our great soldiers and airmen and Marines come back from their tours and they get a lot of help for their PTSD.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, in the civilian world, there's not a lot. There really isn't.
Not a lot of help.
Not a lot of help.
Okay.
You know, it's mostly directed towards military, which,
right.
you know, military, and people think military and police are the same. They're not. Mm-hmm. They're far from it.
Right.
You know, granted, what we see on a daily basis is different than what an active combat soldier sees and has to do. You know, I did almost 20 years, and luckily, I never had to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And whereas somebody
Well,
coming back from war, they've pulled it many times, and
yeah.
they don't know, you know, if they've had to. You know, I don't want to delve off into it, but it's a different situation.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's different for law enforcement and the military.
Yeah, and I can't speak from experience because obviously I never served, but I do know that when you're in military, you are expecting hostile environment.
That's
so
correct.
You know what you're getting into. Mm-hmm. As a police officer, you have no idea.
You don't know what you know. You
have no idea what you're walking into.
Yeah, a simple noise disturbance call, you could end up getting shot.
It can get escalated quickly.
Really
you have no
quick.
idea. A real traffic stop can end up in a shootout. So it's it's very different.
Becoming more common, it seems like, more so than when I first started.
Well, we appreciate your service, and now that we also appreciate that you got a trailer from us. We're really happy for that.
Oh, I am too. I'm extremely happy with my trailer, very much so. It's doing real well.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Walk us through that process because, yes, you were smoking on the weekends and learning how to smoke meats. Mm-hmm. The decision process. How did you decide that, okay, I'm ready to invest $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 in a food truck and go all in on myself?
Well, what I did, you know, like I said, after I broke my foot, I had 5 surgeries in 3.5 years. And after on your feet, when you have surgery, stuff like that, you can't put any pressure on it whatsoever. You can't put it to the ground.
Yep.
So it meant I sat on my chair for 3.5, almost 4 years.
That must have sucked.
It did, yeah. Very much so. You know, a lot of things happened during that, which I won't delve into. But I had a lot of time with me and my iPad, and you know, a lot of times to just sit and think about what I really wanted to do, what made me happy, mm-hmm. and I kept coming back around to, you know, when I was feeding people at work or our neighbors. You know, my girlfriend Debbie and I, who works in the trailer with me.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Deb. We would have our neighbors over, and I'd fire the smoker, and I'd smoke brisket and have sausage, and we'd have a driveway party. We called it driveway party.
Yeah.
and we just set up tables in our driveway.
But you were never collecting money for what you were doing.
Never collecting.
You were just throwing parties.
Just throwing a
neighborhood party.
Come on down and sit down and have some barbecue and bring your own beer, or we got a couple here for you. If you didn't bring have any, whatever, it just didn't matter. Break out the margarita machines. We're Parrot Heads and we're Jimmy Buffett fans, so we've got a couple of the margarita machines there in the garage. So
nice.
And that's where it started. My love of wanting to feed people, because whenever someone comes, man, this is some of the best stuff I've ever had. And, if you've never felt that compliment before like that, your chest swells and you get a big old smile, and it makes you feel really good.
Right.
And like I said, it's a lot different experience than talking to somebody as they're sitting in handcuffs in the back seat going to jail. It's just total. It's worlds different. Don't get me wrong. I would do the law enforcement all over again.
Yeah,
all over again, because that's in my heart. I bleed blue to this day, even though I don't want anything to do with law enforcement anymore. Yep. I did my time.
But your trailer is Blue Brisket.
My trailer is the Blue Brisket, and if you see it, the trailer is actually silver.
Right.
And there's a reason, because I was always a patrol officer, and usually most departments, a patrol officer's badge is silver.
Okay.
So the silver trailer represents my badge.
Nice.
And it does have a blue stripe, going down the side on all around it, and of course that represents the thin blue line.
Right.
So, and I was telling Debbie the other day we need to do something about PTSD, and unfortunately the color for PTSD is teal green, and she goes, "Hey, we can put no teal green on that trailer." So, yes, dear.
Well,
yeah. So, but and I said, I had called and talked to several other builders around the country.
Yeah.
I did my due diligence on.
You did your homework. You came prepared. I remember.
Yeah.
You had a long list.
I had a list,
sheets and folders.
Yep. I did my due diligence and my research, and I talked to several other builders, and it was funny. I didn't know anything about Trailer King Builders until I ran across on Facebook. You did a video.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of the barbecue trailer, but
Olson's Barbecue.
No,
the Barbecue.
The trailer was white with kind of tan, and it was going to a park area or something like that.
I don't remember.
I don't remember the name of it either. It's on your website,
okay,
the Facebook page and everything. But
it's not the Hitari Park trailer. The Hitari Park, was it like a safari?
It might have been.
Yeah.
I think that was it was a barbecue trailer.
No, it wasn't a barbecue trailer. The Hitari Park wasn't a barbecue trailer. It was a fully enclosed 22-foot.
Okay, I saw that one, but there was a barbecue trailer you did that I actually that's where I first saw.
Oh, you're talking about the wagon.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the wagon right there, right at the same time as the Hitari.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yep,
so that was it.
I know who you're talking about.
Yep, that's it. And I called, and I think this was while you were still at your first shop.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't know if it was your wife or whoever, a young lady answered the phone that I spope with, and told whoever, I don't know, because you've grown immensely since that point.
Thank you.
But and I left my number and everything, and I believe you called me back.
Yep.
And you were in the process of moving over here, I think, pretty close.
This was August of last year, so we moved in July, but we didn't really start using the space until August. You came in August, I believe.
I came in September.
September's
when I actually came.
So we were about 30 days into moved.
You had not been here very long.
No.
And so I called and I talked to you, and we discussed a lot of things, and I liked what I heard on the phone. And the best piece of advice is what I'm about to give folks when you're starting a trailer or a truck, whatever.
Yeah.
Go to your builder. Go see their operations.
Absolutely.
Talk to the people. Talk to the guys outside that are working. Talk to the owners.
Yep.
And that's what I did.
Yep.
And I live in Anna, Texas, which is with nonstop about a 4-hour drive it's 30 miles north of Dallas. And so it's about a 4 hours drive down here to Houston. A little longer now when you're pulling the trailer down here and you got to stop every little bit to gas up. So, but I made the trip down one day and came in and talked to Patrick, and I told him the first thing I want to do is I want to go see what you do.
Yes, sir. I remember.
And before we talk anything else, I want to see what you do. And Patrick took me out to the shop area, and I was still on my cane. I was still needing a cane to walk around. And so you showed me several trailers. I remember you were building the beer trailer too.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was able to go walk around through several of the trailers out there, and I was impressed with what I saw. I'm picky, and so I went out and no. So I went out and I actually went through all the trailers and the ones I had available, and he just let me look and and kind of explained the process and I kind of thought to myself, I like what I see.
Appreciate that.
I really did. And then when it came down to actually talking about building the trailer, I was worried about that process because I'm not the best negotiator in the world. I'll give you that. Even for selling cars, I mean, I was easy.
Yeah.
But I came in and I laid it out. Said, this is what I've got, and this is what I have to work with, and I can't really be any more than that.
Right. I remember.
And so Patrick and I, we sat down and
you made it work.
Right here where we're sitting. You brought up your the little design thing on the screen here, and we sat down and designed it.
Yep.
And when we were done, everything fit within my budget. He gave me some discounts here and there, things like that, because I was getting some other stuff like the LED lights and things like that.
Exactly.
That will, are money makers.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, I'm not against, profit is not a dirty word.
No, it's not.
And I'm not against people making money. It's just, I've got to, you have to go in knowing what your limits are.
Absolutely.
And because at that point I still had 2 Cook Shack smokers that I had to buy that were about $5,000 a piece. So I had that money set aside to buy the smokers on top of what the trailer cost.
Absolutely.
And after we got done, we came to a deal that was mutually beneficial to both of us.
Absolutely. And we made it work. You invested a pretty good amount in your business that you just started.
I did. And
when you invest $10,000 just on smokers, that's a pretty big investment.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'll go back. You asked me how you want to know how I did it, and what I did is I used my retirement.
Yep.
And I have a friend. Hello, Joel Marius. I don't know if you will be listening to this or not, but
we'll share it with him.
He's a financial planner.
Yep.
And he was he was my best customer at Eldorado Mazda. Bought 5 cars from me in 2 years, and he knew that I wanted to get into the food truck business.
Okay.
Because I was talking about it before I got hurt.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my heart was kind of leaning towards, because I really didn't like the car business, because I don't know if I'm too honest or whatever, but it just wasn't for me. And after I'd got hurt and everything, I stayed in touch with Joel, and he came to me. He says, "Man, come see me. We may have a way for you to, do what you want to do." And what happened is I did something that was called a self-directed 401k.
Self-directed 401k.
Self-directed 401k, and
You had a 401k with someone else?
For my police retirement.
So it was already being managed by someone?
It was being managed by Texas Municipal Retirement System,
okay.
TMRS.
Okay.
And he said, well, I have a buddy who is a CPA, and let me get you with him so that he can get you going through to do the self-directed 401k. And I got with Ray Shuey, who's my CPA, which I hired after that to do my business. That's worth every penny, folks.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you.
To have a CPA?
To have a CPA. It's worth every penny. It's not much money a month, and it's some of the best money you'll spend.
Absolutely.
Especially for someone like me that I flunked math twice in college. Okay, let's just face that. Okay, but
you know how to cook a damn good brisket.
Yes, I can make a brisket. Let me tell you. But the numbers, no. Thank goodness for the modern point of sale systems and all that stuff that keeps track of all that for you.
Awesome.
But
so he convinced you to move it over to a self-directed
401k. So basically, what I did is I got with Ray, my CPA, and we created an LLC.
Okay.
I'm the Blue Brisket LLC.
Yep.
And what I did is I basically loaned the money to my business
from the self-directed 401k to the LLC.
Yeah. No, well, from my 401k retirement to the business.
Yep.
Through basically what it is you're taking your retirement, putting it in a self-directed 401k,
and then taking out a loan against it.
And then you use that money, but it has to be used for the business only.
Okay.
So basically what I did is I loaned the money to my business, and the business is paying me back with interest.
Okay. Interesting. That's awesome.
And it's set up to where I could take 30 years to pay it off and only pay a couple $100 a month.
Okay.
But of course I will pay it off hopefully next year.
Now, are you familiar with the details in terms of, does that go again? So you have to pull out the capital, the principal, or is that principal still in?
I took every bit of it out with no tax penalties.
With no tax penalties.
No penalties. There was no penalties with it because
it's a loan.
It's basically I'm loaning the money to the business,
and you're paying it back,
and it's getting paid back.
Okay.
So, and there's only a few banks around that are specialized in it, and the bank I use is out of Colorado.
Okay. So this is interesting because a lot of our listeners, my podcast focuses on everything, but I do have a lot of food truck owners that might be listening, and this is an awesome way to fund your business.
Sure.
If you've been in a corporate setting for 20, 30 years and you have a 401k that you've accumulated over 20, 30 years, and maybe you have $100,000, you tap into it and you self-directed, or you.
And I'll be honest with you. When I started, I had $72,000.
There you go.
That's it. I mean, and I probably spent more on the trailer than I should.
You went all in on yourself.
I went all in on myself, but I bet on myself because I know who I am and what I can do.
Yep.
And I probably spent more on the trailer, but I have the philosophy of, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. Plus my research is, if I bought a used trailer and then went through and equipped it the way everything I needed, I was going to be close to the price of a new one anyway, so why not just get the new one?
Yep.
Your new equipment with warranties.
And you got it how you wanted it done.
I got it how I wanted it.
Yep, exactly.
And like I said, that's why I came down and actually physically came down here and saw the place and actually talked to Patrick, and I was very impressed with Patrick. I really was.
I appreciate that.
There's you meet a lot of people in your lifetime, and sometimes you can tell a good person, or sometimes you can tell if someone's blowing you smoke. Yeah. Everybody has a BS detector.
Yep.
Whether you know how to use it or not is all on you. But
yep.
I have a very good one.
Okay. As a cop, I hope so.
Yeah, I had a very good one. Don't believe nothing you hear and only half of what you see.
Exactly.
And I got no BS reading off Patrick at all. And
I'm very humbled that you're saying that. I really appreciate it, because I take pride in the work that I do and doing the right thing, man.
Yeah.
For others.
Like I said, profit's not a dirty word, but if you can profit a little less and help somebody get started, and then you can reap the benefits of that as well. I mean, that's a big deal. Word of mouth brings you lots of business. I mean, I do nothing.
Now that you brought that up, I want to share with something interesting with you, and I appreciate the kind words. I really do. It's means a lot to me, bro. I am a person that takes a lot of pride. Look at my office. I take a lot of pride in working on myself and helping others and making sure that, one, I do the right thing all the time. I learned that from my grandfather and my great uncle, and it's something I take a lot of pride into. I wasn't always working on myself all the time. It took me 37 years to actually wake up. But now that you said that, there's times where we have conceded some pricing to other customers.
Sure.
And they turn around and take it. I don't know how that works, but I've seen it get bad most of the time when we do concede. It feels like they are not appreciative as much. But you, on the other hand, we conceded we came to an agreement.
Yes.
And we made it work for both of us.
Right.
From the start, you have been nothing but helpful for us.
You've learned by now, I have no problem giving you feedback.
I know. But in a good way.
Yeah, and I know that's going to help you. I called him the other day. I picked up a nail in one of my tires.
Yep.
On the trailer on the 4th of July festival that we did for the city of Anna. And when I went to our local tire shop, the owner, who I know, and he's another good, honest businessman, he says, listen, I'm not trying to upsell you, but I will tell you that if you switch to those 8-ply tires, that it would be a lot safer because your trailer's heavy.
Yep.
And, I said, well, how much are they? They're $75 a piece. Let's do it.
Of course.
Let's rock.
For safety?
For safety, you bet.
$300?
Yeah. Actually, it was a little more than that because I got 5 of them with a spare.
Okay, there you go.
And it made a world of difference in the ride in that trailer. I don't have, I have a half-ton pickup. My trailer's, about 9,000 pounds. It's loaded.
Yep.
My half-ton pickup's rated to carry to tow 11.7, so it's well within there. But with those other tires, it swayed a lot. But with these, I don't have a lot of issue with it.
And you sent me that text, or we talked on the phone, and first thing I did was turn around and share it with my people here. So,
and there's been a couple other things that I've called Patrick on that I gave my feedback on, some things I've had to do to the trailer. I haven't called him to say, hey, I need you to pay for this stuff. No, I don't do that. But I do give the feedback on it, and that way he can make his product better.
I appreciate that.
That's I have no problem giving my opinion.
and everything that we can do to help you, we absolutely will.
Well, yeah.
Because, when you go above and beyond, you're trying to help me. I'm going to go above and beyond to try to help you.
Sure.
It's just the way it works. Yeah. And so I did do a little research. So remember that trailer, when it was getting built out, your trailer was taking a little longer to get built.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And this one was prefabricated.
Yeah.
That's why those tires were on there.
Yeah.
The 8-ply is already standard.
Are they?
So I figured out, it was standard.
Okay. Well, because I'm ordered during COVID, and it was just taking a little bit long. When you're starting to do business, you got a lot of money going out and none coming in. You get a little nervous.
Yeah, of course you do. So let's talk about the business. You started it.
Okay.
You went all in. You got your trailer, and how did it take off? What have you done to make sure so people know that you exist? What has been your experience so far as running the business?
Running the business right now, the biggest deal for me is Facebook. I've got a Twitter page and an Instagram page, but where I'm at in the community that I am in, Facebook is about the only thing they really do.
Okay.
And
what's the population in Anna?
In Anna right now, it's anywhere from 15 to 18,000, and growing big time. The nice thing about Anna is that it's a commuter town where everybody drives down south going to Dallas or McKinney or Plano or Richmond, whatever, to go to work. But there's not a lot of commercial yet.
Got it.
In Anna, there's I said there's 18,000 people that live in Anna, but we've got every pizza known to man there that you can get
because it's easy.
Because it's easy. We've got about 3 sit-down restaurants.
Okay,
and that's about it.
Yep. So you're competing with 3 sit-down restaurants and a bunch of pizza places.
And we've got several trailers in town that are popping up now.
Okay.
So, and the city is just now starting to recognize that the mobile food industry is probably the way things are going. And I've been in, since I was an officer in Anna, I know a lot of the people on city council and the mayor and things like that. And I've kind of been dropping in their ear. They need to, look into putting in a food truck park.
Yeah.
At we have a very nice park facility. It's called Slater Creek Park there in Anna. And it's got all the pavilions. It's got a splash pad, baseball fields, tennis courts. That's where the 4th of July Festival was at, where they set up a stage with bands and everything else. And I kind of dropped it in their ear that, listen, if y'all would set up a spot and run us some, 15, 30 amp plug-ins, and so, someplace where we can come set up and do it during the week and on weekends on a regular schedule, you'll find that you'll draw people to the parks, and you'll get a lot of people using the facilities.
Yeah. What kind of response did you get?
Extremely positive.
Okay.
I think it's in the works.
Awesome.
From what I'm hearing, that they are planning on doing something along that line.
That's awesome, because with COVID, everybody wants to be outdoors.
Yep.
Right? Exactly. With what happened with the pandemic, which is terrible, but you got to make lemonade out of the lemons that were handed to us. And being outdoors is where it's at now.
Yeah. Well, I've had a lot of people say, man, you need to open a restaurant, and now's not the time to do it. I've had a recent opportunity at a space, and people are hurting to get people to work.
Yeah.
I can only do so much.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I see the trend being the mobile food, and as of right now, that's where it's at.
Yep. Well, let's not forget that the reason people don't want to work is they're collecting.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I'm not going to
pretty much handouts.
I'm not getting into all that political stuff. I mean, I stay away from that one.
Well, so you're never going to go into political. I was going to ask you because you said you have connections with the mayor. You're never going into public office.
No, I've had enough of government.
There you go.
I don't want to be part of it.
Okay.
But I will help.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be part of any type of office of any kind.
Okay. Cool.
So
now Blue Brisket is open. Blue Brisket is in Anna, Texas. They serve barbecue. What's your main dish?
My number one dish by far is brisket sandwich.
Brisket sandwich.
And we do a side with all of our sandwiches.
What do you sell it for?
Right now, brisket sandwich with a side is $12. And that's because price of brisket right now.
Yeah. Does it come with a drink?
No drink. A lot of people don't buy the drink because they stop by and they're going home.
Yeah.
They stop by and pick up their meal and go home. So we don't sell a ton of drinks unless we're at an event.
Yeah.
So, which is fine.
How big is this sandwich?
It's good size. I don't sit there and weigh it out. But
what kind of bread do you use?
I use just regular old hamburger buns.
Nice.
They're not expensive. But with the price, like I said, with the price of brisket, unfortunately, I started off selling them for $8.
Okay.
Back when brisket was low.
Yep. Brisket's been going up by the pound.
Brisket's been going up. It's more than doubled since I started. My first day out was March the 26th, and prime brisket was about $2.89 a pound, and now we're up to about $5 or more. Mm-hmm. So it's just depending on where you go, but. Hopefully that'll be coming down here before too long. Hopefully,
yeah.
But luckily, whenever I had to raise my prices, I got on Facebook and said, "Listen, folks, I'm not going to have any choice. I've got to raise the price on the brisket. I don't have any choice."
I did a video yesterday on how to price your menu in our Facebook group, which you belong. That's where you saw. I think that's where you saw me.
I saw you doing the how to determine what price for your menu items. Yeah,
I did that video yesterday with the cost margin app.
Yes.
And somebody on there commented that it's a great way to help barbecue businesses because their prices are fluctuating every single day.
Yeah, I remember that comment. Yes.
Yeah. So
I do use it.
And you're looking at your prices, your costs to make a brisket go up every single day. So just make sure, like to all the listeners that are thinking about getting into the food truck game, do a little research on how to price your menu, among other things, right? John did a bunch of research before he even pulled the trigger on getting a $50,000, $60,000 trailer. I see a lot of people don't do any at all.
Right.
And then they contact us when, they've lost money because they picked the wrong manufacturer.
Nothing I tell
which
you,
is shameful.
Yeah. Nothing I tell folks that starting to do the mobile food, know your customers, your customer base.
Yeah.
I knew, by the socioeconomic area that I live in, you've got to follow those things. That $12 for a brisket sandwich with a side is not terrible for the median income of your area.
Right. No, I'll put $12. What type of side?
We do homemade, and we make everything. It's all homemade by scratch. We do mac and cheese is our number one.
Nice.
Homemade potato salad, barbecue beans, which I smoke. We make all that.
Do you do pork? Pulled pork?
Do pulled pork.
I love pulled pork.
Then we have Lay's potato chips.
Do you do any brisket? I mean, any ribs?
No ribs.
No ribs.
People ask me that, and I say ribs are my nemesis. I can make them where they're edible, but it's not something I want to sell.
Right.
I'm working on it though.
Okay.
But my specialty is the brisket and the pulled pork, which I make all my rubs. Which
you make your own rubs.
I make my own rubs.
Wow.
And the brisket's not so much a secret, but the pork one is because I do something different.
Well, then eventually, when you want, you can start selling those rubs called Blue Brisket. It's going to be awesome.
Eventually, and I make my own barbecue sauce.
Whoa, that's great.
Yeah, I call it Texas twang is what I call it because it's a Dr. Pepper ketchup base. Of course, Dr. Pepper being Texas.
Yeah.
It's a Dr. Pepper ketchup, brown sugar, and vinegar based sauce. I don't like heat. I'm not a big heat person, so I like the sweet and tangy.
I'm Latino. I love heat.
I'm sure you do.
I
do put a little cayenne in it, but not enough to where it's going to make you sweat or anything by any means. You know, I think it's ridiculous if you buy something that's going to blow your mouth off and you just spent $30 for the meal and you can't taste it after the first bite. To me, that doesn't register. So
it's all good. It's all good. But so to the listeners out there that are thinking about starting the food truck, what would you recommend is the first thing they do? Or maybe one or two things, maybe two or three things. Like, what would you recommend? You know, they have the money. They don't have to work. They have access to the capital. They have access, and they already thought of a concept. They're like, I'm ready to go, but you know, I'm still on the fence. I don't know if I want to do this or not. Like, what would you recommend that they do?
First thing that you have to do is contact wherever you're going to be working, their local municipality. For me, in my case, it's the city of Anna, and find out what the requirements are that you're going to have to get your permit and pass inspections.
Yep.
Because that's the first thing that you got to do.
You have to understand that process.
Yeah,
if you don't understand that process.
You know, I'm kind of lucky. City of Anna just took over last October with an ordinance for the trucks and trailers.
Yep.
Prior to that, it was just working off Collin County. But City of Anna took it over, and so I've got access to our code enforcement. That's who does it, is code enforcement, and I've got access to those guys just pretty much whenever I need them and talk to them and things like that. So you've got to know your area where you're going to be and what they require of you.
And once they have that, what's next?
Once they have that, you know, generally if you decided you're going to do it, you already know what you're going to make and everything. For me, what I did is I did a lot of research on my smokers, my equipment.
Yeah,
you got to know what you have, and you know, I'll flat out admit it. I'm a cheater. I use electric smokers, but they're cook shack commercial smokers, electric. They're set it and forget it, and I did that because I'm only one person and got to get some sleep occasionally. I'm old. A lot older than I used to be.
Yeah, so people that don't know how to barbecue or smoke, like if you use the regular wood fire smoke, you have to tend that thing.
You've got to tend it. You've got to keep feeding it wood. Whereas on mine, I use 3 chunks of wood.
And you let it go.
You
go to sleep and knowing that your brisket is going to be at temperature.
Well, and even though the cost on startup cost is a lot for those things.
Yep.
The operational cost is fraction of what a traditional big smoker would be.
Right, your peace of mind.
Yeah, I buy a bag of wood chunks that last a month. Even though I mix my woods, that's something else I played with when I was teaching myself. I do different flavored woods for each different meats.
Yep.
And so I can order them on Amazon for $7 a bag. And those bags last me month and a half, whereas, you know, the old style smokers, which are awesome, by the way, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I know
they produce fantastic food.
Yep.
But I don't have an area where I can store a quart of wood. And not to mention, you know, I don't have to go searching for somebody if my normal supplier's out of the wood. You know, I don't have to worry about, you know, bug infestation.
So something that you said that I think is very critical in starting this type of business is knowing what it's going to take to operate your business. Because you decided to go into the barbecue business, right?
Right.
And you knew if you got wood smokers, it was going to be a grind to either wake up extremely early or not sleep at night to make sure that you can have food prep for the weekend and for your customers.
Correct.
So you went in knowing, you know what, that's not the type of operation that I want to manage. And so you bought some Cook Shack smokers that allows you now still to manage this business and still keep your peace of mind, still have time for your family, still have time for Debbie.
That's right.
And you knew that ahead of time. So I think that is something that I want to make sure people, when they go into this, think about the operations. Think about what it's going to take.
You have to.
If you're in Houston, for example, you have to move your trailer every single day. You have to take it to the commissary. You have to get that ticket, and City of Houston will put a GPS tracker on your trailer or truck, and they know if you haven't moved it or not. That's for health purposes. They want you to dump your dirty water every single day. It's not like that in every county in the U.S., but if you're in Houston, you know that you better be ready because that's the type of operation you're going to have to run.
Yeah, and where I'm at, I'm considered self-sufficient.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, John, thank you so much for being here.
Sure, you bet.
I think we shared a lot of valuable information to our listeners. Again, we appreciate your service. 20 years in the force, in the police force. That's amazing. And let's go get your trailer fixed so we can get you back on the road for serving some barbecue.
Yep, I need to get that thing going again. We've got a lot of people saying, when you going to be back open?
We're going to get
As
you
fast as we can. I
ASAP.
promise.
Thank you so much for being here, man.
You bet. Thank you, Patrick.
Wait. Sorry, guys. Before I let him go, I need him to share where they can find Blue Brisket. So share with us, share with our listeners where they can find you.
The best place to find us is on Facebook, and it's The Blue Brisket. You just type it in, and it should bring up our page. And if you're ever up and around Anna, when I'm back up and running on Wednesdays, I put out where we're going to be.
Okay.
We have a normal spot there in town, which is 604 West White Street in Anna. It's a small lot in front of a 5-star Keller Williams and a foot and ankle doctor office.
Okay.
And that's where we are most weekends, unless we have special events. We've been having neighborhoods contact us to come down to their pools in the neighborhood and set up, and we do real well with that as well.
Awesome. So there you have it, folks. Make sure you follow them on Facebook, The Blue Brisket in Anna, Texas. What's that address again?
Where we set up mostly is 604 West White Street, which is FM 455.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. John Dragoo, for being here and for allowing me to interview you on my podcast.
I enjoyed it.
Wish you all the success in the world, brother.
Thank you, sir.